Welcome to The Sun and the Moon. I'm Alexandria Irons, your host with...
Luna Whitcomb at Luna All Day.
Yes, oh yeah, Queen of the Sun Grown. I just introduced myself without saying that part, but... yeah. How's it going, girl?
Oh, God, I had a really busy day today, and I am pretty tired.
I know
How about
that's what
you?
you're saying. Sounds like you got a lot done in the garden.
I did. I got a lot done in the garden.
And you said it was 40 degrees, and I was just in
It's cold.
Prineville last weekend or Sunday for 24 hours, and it was like 90 degrees. And you're right around there, right? You're close to
Yeah,
that.
I'm pretty close to there. Pretty close to there in Bend. Um, but yeah, it gets hot and then it gets cold, and it's
The
cold.
desert, the
It got
high
cold.
desert.
Yeah, it's gonna get warmer tomorrow, but the past couple of days it's been pretty cold, and I was out in the greenhouse top dressing and watering and mixed some stuff up and did all my fancy stuff, and I got my feet all cold and my hands all cold, and I'm just
Oh,
tired. I'm
you need a
tired.
bath.
I need a bath. I'm ready for a bath. But
um,
what have you been working on?
oh man, today was kind of a boring day. Computer work, meetings. I did another podcast this morning, and I hate being on the computer all day. Those are not my days. I'm like, man, I tried to go mountain biking this morning and my truck was dead. Couldn't get it started. Couldn't go. So I'm a
The
little
hoopty?
grumpy. Yeah, yeah.
Got the
My
hoopty.
plants are looking pretty good though. The outdoor, I was telling Ken, I'm a little worried at how cold it is and cloudy, and the next like 10-day forecast is just highs of 60s and low 70s and like no sunshine and interspersed raining. So I'm like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta dial in that watering. You gotta change that watering cycle, watering system.
Oh
I would
yeah, I'm not even on any system. It's me. So
do, yeah. Well, I mean, I just mean like I on days like these where it's all overcast and stuff. I have to dial back how much I water, because it
oh
doesn't
yeah.
evaporate as
Definitely.
much, doesn't drink as much.
I haven't even watered in a couple days because it's been raining, so I haven't really had. I just gone out, said hi, smelled everybody, looked at the buds to see how things were progressing, give them a little energy vibing, but I didn't have to do much of anything.
Yeah. They feeling out good?
Yeah. I mean, um, the purple ghost candy is like was not a good choice for outside here. It didn't start flowering until freaking like the second week of August, like really setting. And I was just like, oh my God, is this what's going on? Like, this is not what I want. And
Yeah. A November strain.
yeah, which I just wasn't thinking. And coming from California, I was like, I grow till January 1st, I'm harvesting. So I should have put a little bit more forethought into my choice of plants outside.
It happens. It happens. We want to like try new things, and sometimes they don't work out.
Yep. But you
Well,
know what? It's going to go into bubble hash, and they like that light color, the freaking milky trichomes. Hardly any amber is going to give some really nice white colored hash, and for some
pulled a
reason,
little
that's what the
early.
consumer wants. Exactly.
Sometimes that early pull makes like some of the best hash. It smells great.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
People, for some reason, are all about just like white hash. They want it to be as light as possible, even if it's. I'm like, most hash makers I talk to are like, oh, I'm pulling early at week 5. I'm like, oh, but it's just driven by consumer, like associating that light color with it being superior rather than it's like,
Better.
yo, amber trichomes, make it a little bit amber.
Mhm. Yeah, just because it's clearer or brighter doesn't mean that it has more compounds or diversity of compounds.
Yeah, but
Sometimes the darker the better.
that'll be yeah. So I'm not, and I pollinated. I took some inspiration from my friends, you being one of them, and I just wanted to play around with some breeding. So,
Cool.
um,
Let's talk about breeding a
I
little bit.
It's a cherry charmander that I was given. And that's
Charmander. Nice.
yes. It's Quattro Kush and Cherry Sherbaccio, and that's the male, so the cherry charmander. And I don't even know who like bred it. Somebody gave it to me, and I had only maybe like 5 males because everyone wants to do feminized seeds nowadays. So when I started, probably like 40, 50 seeds back in, I don't know, last year, I hardly got any males. Like it was like all pretty much females. I think I had like maybe 5.
Were you running
So
feminized seed?
feminine, no, the ones that I got the males from were all regular, but I did a mixture. But most everybody wants to give you feminized now. It's like not as many regular. So I just
Right.
had a small selection to choose from the males, but um, he was just like robust, beautiful green coloring, nice spacing between branches, sturdy. I was like, you're pretty. You're like a nice, pretty male and
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah, you
So,
want the pretty boys. You want the
yeah, that's what I
boys.
remember you saying. So
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be a good one. And um, yeah, I collected pollen too, so I can do some back crossing and play with it a little bit more and just see what happens. So I have that. And he impregnated the purple ghost candy, strawberry banana grape, and gelato G. So we'll see what
Very
happens.
cool. Very cool. Is this your first
Yeah.
time breeding?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
I know. I'm really excited. I just feel like I'm at this point where why not just try it and start playing with something new? There's always time to learn more, and about, especially about this plant. She's so diverse, and there's so many different aspects and rabbit holes you can get down, whether it like friggin' hash making and edibles and growing and therapeutic counseling, like emotional benefits, spiritual. There's just like so many different. I feel like I could spend my whole life learning something new.
We definitely can. I feel like if you're not learning until you're dead, I don't know what you're doing. You gotta learn forever.
Exactly.
Learn every day. If you think you can stop learning, then might as well be dead.
Yeah, no. Gotta keep
Um,
going. Keep learning. Forever student.
remember to cure your seeds for a month.
Okay, good
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah.
So, curing, how do you like to cure them?
Just like you cure weed, just let it cure for a month instead of like a couple weeks. Like just because it's dry and you can't harvest, just wait another couple
Okay,
weeks.
okay. All right. Yay,
Mm,
good to know. Thank you.
yeah.
Any other tips?
Yeah, for sure. So you want to make sure that your male is like really mature, because they'll start throwing pollen before the pollen is necessarily like fully mature. So usually it's best to like isolate your male or just make sure it's really big before you like knock it, right? Or
Okay.
cut it and shake it, which I like to do sometimes. Um, but then also the best time to pollinate is usually around like 4.5, like week 4.5. So
Okay.
you start your male like first and you let it get a little bit more mature. And then you like 2 weeks ahead, 3 weeks ahead, and then pollinate everything.
That's a really good tip. Thank you very much. So, next time
You're very
around, I'm going
welcome.
to apply that because I kind of was just like, I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to leave this male out here, and he was a little bit further along, and I left him there with my outdoor ladies for like a month. I just let him chill, and then I shook it around, and he got,
That works fine. That's how nature does it. They all start at the same time and
yeah,
that's how
yeah.
they do it. Also,
I,
don't over pollinate.
okay.
Because if there's too much pollen, then they throw like a whole bunch of seeds next to each other and they almost like fight for space. If you
All
kind
right.
of just like lightly pollinate, which is plenty, because pollen is just
Mm-hmm.
everywhere,
Yeah.
um, or it gets everywhere. It allows for more space for the seeds to develop fully, and then that's how people end up with like the big honker seeds and instead of like the little ones.
Yeah. Okay. That's great to know
Mhm.
because I've gotten a few packs. Um, of seeds lately. I'm not going to say who, but that were sent to me, and they were the tiniest little tiny seeds, and I'm like, this is not. And they had a really low germination, not really low, but not
They
like
overpollinated.
they over pollinated.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. There's something different, much different um, than most seeds, but meow meow. Right, meow.
Kitty.
Dude, my cat, I'm afraid that he's gonna be like one of those cats that, where they just become someone else's cat.
Did he like? Did they boy or girl?
Boy.
Did he like? Is he like hanging out at someone else's house?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Oh
He's
no.
always across the street. I just see him there hanging out, climbing around their yard, coming out of the backyard. I'm like, every single day, pretty much.
You got to start giving him wet food. Bait him back. You got to bait him back.
I swear, if they're giving him food, one day I'm going to come home and he's going to have a little collar with a different name.
Oh my god. Wouldn't that be terrible? Your cat comes back and he's got like a different name on him.
I've heard crazy stories about cats just going to other people's. Oh, have a comment here. In nature, the male will throw pollen 2 weeks prior to the female creating flowers. That will accept pollen correctly. Interesting.
Okay.
Any recommendations transitioning plants from outdoors to indoor tent late stage flowering? Oh, he's trying to save it.
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's hard because your plant's used to really high light intensity, and then you're bringing it to a lower light intensity, and a whole bunch of the plant is used to light that you're not really going to be able to give it.
I've never had to do that before.
Um, that's a tough one. Good luck.
Good luck. Let us know.
Give it a lot of light. Give it as much light as you can.
Yeah, turn it up. I mean, I just saw somebody posting some kind of lights that were like, they looked like freaking stick-on LED strips like on the sides. So it was like the trellising so that the side had light coming in. It was very interesting.
I've seen that before too. Actually, my dad had a grower. He did that. um, but I mean, it seemed to work fine. I mean, it's the surface of the leaf that really wants to get light, So if it's like down low and it's shining up from the bottom, that's not super good. But people do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like on the sides, some of the leaves are kind of sideways.
Yeah, and they'll reposition and stuff. They'll
solar panels tracking.
Yeah, little tracking solar panels. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's really interesting how like auxins help with the sun tracking, and I always thought that it was the light that was promoting the increase of auxins, but it's actually the shadow. So, which makes sense when you actually think about it, because auxins are responsible for cell elongation, and so when it's in the shade, then you're getting more auxins, so it's like tilting, following the sun because of what's behind it. I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
it'll force this side to catch up with this side so that the top.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. Yes.
Yeah, I think that the darkness gets overlooked a lot. Like we always associate growing with the sunlight, right? Or the grow lights. But a lot of the functions are happening because of the darkness, and it's not actually the light. Like even triggering in the flower, it's like you can have, it's the amount of darkness, not light.
Right. Yeah, totally. And like root growth, all that is, darkness is important for those processes. And yeah, it's
Speaking of, we were talking about bro science and like doing like,
a little bro science talking.
Yeah, so the bro science one came up and I thought of you and I was like, I'm gonna ask her what she thinks of this because I don't even know why people do it, but the 3 days of darkness before harvesting.
Okay, don't do that. Don't do
I know, but why?
that. I
Like,
don't
what
know
do you
who
think?
came up with that. Or, I don't know. The only thing that I can think of maybe is, a lot of aromas, they're all volatile compounds, right? And maybe if you don't give them light, they won't evaporate and you walk in the room, it's going to smell more or whatever. But a lot of those, maybe, but like a lot of those finishing processes are dependent on light. And there was that one, I saw a talk with this guy, he's really, well known, like doctor of horticulture. I forget his name though, but he was talking about it and he was just like, no, it's complete nonsense. Don't put your plants in the darkness.
Yeah, I worked with somebody my first year growing, and he would make us harvest in the dark and like have to use headlamps because he
Really?
would keep it dark for like 2 days. And I was just like, this is crazy. This is weird. He never explained to me, he had no reasoning. It's just like, that's what I was told to do. So that's what I do. And I think that's where, like, when we're saying bro science, that's what a lot of that is. It's just like anecdotal tricks that people come up with and then tell somebody, and then somebody else does it, and it just goes on, and there's no actual reasoning.
Oh yeah. It'll always be like, oh, my buddy, he grows this many pounds per light or whatever, and he does this thing, so I must do this thing, and this is the right thing to do because my buddy did it and he told me about it.
Yep.
You know. But just bro science all around. Bro science for everyone. um, what else to say about the darkness thing? Oh, I don't know. Oh, first of all, this sounds really dangerous. Harvesting in the dark. Um, but do you ever drop the temps in your room at the end?
You know what? I mean, we don't intentionally really drop the temps, but I have thought about it. I don't grow a lot inside, and my husband pretty much runs the indoor because I'm not about growing inside.
Yeah,
So,
to do.
but I've heard, and that's something that is like also bro science, is the like needing to maintain that perfect temperature, like inside. I know that, like, people will get alarms and freak out if it's like too big of a variation. I've heard like, oh, you don't want your cannabis to go through more than 20-degree temperature swing or variation. And I'm like, there's really amazing cannabis grown in greenhouses, and that happens all the time. And they're like, indoors are so much more worried about this severe temperature fluctuation. I've heard that a lot. And I'm like, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I always try to keep my temperatures from fluctuating more than 10 degrees.
In your greenhouse?
Oh no, my greenhouse is impossible. No way.
Yeah.
Don't even think about it.
So with your indoor, you don't want your like really strict about keeping it within that 10-degree
I
fluctuation.
do my best to make sure that it's within the 10-degree, yeah. Because I mean, I'm chasing.
What about the end? Like you were saying, do you change it? Do you drop it
Oh,
at the end?
I drop the temps. I drop it down to 60.
Okay.
Drop it to like
Yeah.
60, 62.
But what's the variation?
Oh, then it's pretty consistent at that point. I just keep it cold.
Okay.
Yeah. Because at night, well, I guess it depends what time of year it is, right?
Yep.
But I do the last like 10 days. I try to drop my temps down to like 62, and it brings out a lot of color.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what I mean. The senescence, the shows, the fall foliage outside is just like, you can't find it as much indoors. It's just so beautiful. I love that. So that's good. I mean, everyone wants purple. It's got real popular again in the last, I don't know, few years.
It's funny how the market changes like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants different things. Everyone wanted cookies and OG, and now it's like, oh, we want stuff that no one's ever heard of before. We want new things.
Right, I know. It's weird.
But I want to talk a little bit about vapor, though.
Okay.
Because that kind of plays into into what you had mentioned.
Yeah, like the VPD of the room, so with your temperature and your light. Okay, yeah, let's hear, because I would love to learn more about this.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, you familiar with transpiration and transevaporation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so transevaporation is like when moisture is kind of like forced out of the plant, right? And then transpiration is the stoma opening and closing and releasing moisture from the plant. And then that
Yep.
creates the high osmotic pressure in the cells, and then that's what causes water, moisture to be absorbed from the root zone and nutrients to be transported throughout the plant, right? So if you have it too dry, you're creating transevaporation, or if you have your lights too intense, you're creating transevaporation. And so your plants lose moisture before they're able to transport nutrients. So you lose nutrient delivery. While if you have too much moisture, they can't transpirate, they can't release moisture, and you're also losing nutrient delivery, the rate of nutrients being delivered, whatever. So like if you have like a veg plant that doesn't have enough moisture, it's not delivering nutrients to the cells of the plant where the nutrients are needed. So you'll see deficiencies, and people will see deficiencies and be like, "Oh shit, I'm lacking nitrogen, I'm lacking phosphorus, I'm lacking whatever," and they start pumping their plants with stuff when really the problem was that it was too dry, and that their nutrients weren't able to be delivered from the soil to the plant. So it is really important to stay on top of temperature and humidity and find the correct vapor pressure, or the vapor, the content of vapor.
Deficit. Did you want me to bring up a chart, Luna? I was actually bringing my boys in, so I think I missed you asking for something.
Oh no, I didn't ask for anything. Hi, Ken.
Oh, okay. No, so VPD.
Yes, VPD. So I know that the relative humidity of the room would increase with the temperature, correct? And that makes complete sense because the atmosphere itself can hold more humidity the warmer it gets, the actual volume of water vapor that's in our atmosphere.
Vapor. Yeah, more vapor.
Yes. So what is your, like, are you following then a VPD chart of like trying to stay within those ratios of temperature to humidity, and you're like married to that? Like, some people are super intense about that.
Not really, because in my experience, every single humidistat that I've ever used ever doesn't fucking work. I'll have multiple of the same brand or different brands in a room next to each other, like right next to each other, just because I'm like, this doesn't seem right. And they all say different things, even fluctuating like 10 percentage points. Wow. And I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, how am I supposed to monitor my ideal vapor in my room when my humidistats are all saying different things? And sometimes that happens with aerometers, with like tensiometers, your moisture meters and stuff like that.
I guess if you're using the same tool, though, at least you're marking a ratio that is like for your specific room. Even if it's not accurate, you can kind of like gauge your differences and just using the same tool.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I need to get one of those like old school like barometers,
Oh yeah,
from like back in the day. Go back to analog. We gotta go back to analog. But no, I mostly just look at the plant, read what the plant's telling me. That crazy thing where you just listen to what the plant has to tell you. If I see any tacoing, curling, or serrating of the leaves, to me it's not humid enough. And I add more humidity. I mean, it is possible that the soil is too hot. You like mixed up too many amendments, and now your soil temperature is actually hot and it's causing your leaves to curl. But if that variable is out of the question, then it's usually just too dry. So I'll like pump my humidity, in that case, and then you see nutrient delivery and better growth rates and wider leaves. What's the difference between humidity and absolute humidity? I've never heard of absolute humidity. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never heard of absolute humidity, but like Alex was saying, the warmer it is, the more vapor can be held in the air. So you can have a relative humidity that's, we'll just say, for example, 50. And it's, let's say it's 68 degrees and wherever. You have a certain amount of humidity or a certain amount of vapor in the air, And as it gets warmer, and if you keep relative humidity at 50, but it's still 80 degrees, 90 degrees, in whatever space you're in, you can have a relative humidity of 50 at 68 degrees and 50 at 90 degrees, and the vapor content in the air is significantly higher the warmer that it is. So people like will follow relative humidity to a fault, and then like almost not even pay attention to their temperatures as much. But really, you have to have both of them on point, because it's the measure of vapor in the air that's really important. And it's about transpiration, avoiding transevaporation, and making sure that your plant can deliver nutrients properly. And this is the fancy rainbow chart of vapor pressure deficit.
Nice. I just Googled what does absolute humidity, and it was the total mass of water vapor present in a given volume or mass of air, and it does not take temperature into consideration. So it sounds like those people aren't paying attention to the temperature, which then, can lead to problems if you're just going off of the absolute humidity. I don't know.
Yeah, just do what my plant tells me to do.
Exactly. I mean, I live in Washington now, and it's always humid here. It's like raining all the time, and I don't have to worry about that. In California, it was a little bit drier, but I only grew indoor there like 1 year, and it was up in Tahoe, and it snowed and rained and was. I know, I miss it. I was just talking to somebody today. I was just like, man,
I used to
I
live
wish
there.
Yeah, me too. It's amazing. It's like that's what we're kindred spirits, man. We followed a lot of the the same path. Do you snowboard or ski?
I snowboard. I've been snowboarding since I was like 13, 14 or something.
Amazing.
Let's go
Yeah, I
snowboarding.
love it. I know. Bachelor, wasn't that by you?
Yeah, Bachelor's near where I am now. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
grew up riding Heavenly and Kirkwood and
Okay.
Mount Rose and North Star and Squaw.
North Star,
Yeah,
Squaw, Sugar
no.
Bowl. I worked at Sugar Bowl for 4 years.
Oh, did you?
Uh
Nice.
huh.
Started getting white powdery mildew at the end of flower. Oh no. Alex, what do you think?
Water.
Water? Spraying with
Yeah.
water?
Yep. Powdery mildew is a pretty wimpy fungus. I mean, if you just change the pH of the leaf surface, it should take care of it. You could add a little citric acid to make sure. But PM, yeah, you can take care of it pretty easily with that.
And also kombucha works.
Kombucha. I love booch on tap.
All that booch. Get that booch on there. Yeah, that's what I used to do. I would make my own kombucha from beet. Make beet kombucha.
And then spray your plant if it had PM.
I would mix kombucha and labs together.
Okay.
I would do
Oh, wow.
30.
You love beets.
I love beets. I love beets. I mean, that's actually how I stumbled into the whole beet thing, was from making kombucha and like, pulling stuff out of the garden, and pulled like lilac flowers and different fruits and veggies that I would, from the garden, and make kombucha with it. And the one with the beets was super carbonated, always had the most pressure, always fizzed the most. When I opened it, it would fucking explode. And it would hold its carbonation for longer, and it would take longer to finish than everything else.
That's amazing. What a keen observation.
Oh, thanks. But that's how I got all big into the beet thing, because it's like, wow, it's a energy source that sticks around for longer, works better. So that's how I got into the beet kick.
Dude, and beets are so cheap. Beet seeds, they're like one of the cheapest seeds you can buy, and they grow so well and so fast. Like the beets are ready from seed to harvest, like one of the fastest vegetables that you can grow.
Super quick.
Amazing. What a great resource. That's like closed loop farming right there, intentionally using your resources. When I see people going out and buying like this huge list of things to make in their ferments, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, that's not the point. The point is to use the things that are around you, your resources that are free and that are like, continuing that cycle. Oh, they're gonna go get kombucha.
make sure that it's completely finished. You know, if you have a Brix meter, I think this is way over the top, but if you have a Brix meter, try to just keep the sugar content as low as possible, because if you spray kombucha with a bunch of sugar in it all over your plants, you're going to end up with a sugar residue. So be wary of that.
And it's better if you can find one that actually has the mother in it. Then it's a lot better kombucha.
Could you just use the apple cider vinegar with the mother?
Probably. You could probably just use apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, because you just want to change the pH, really. Powdery mildew is one of the weakest, wimpiest funguses out there. I think. I mean, I never worry too much. If I see one spot, like, oh, spray it.
Well,
You know, and
I originally got the idea for using kombucha from my buddy who was telling me that people would use brewer's yeast to fight powder mildew. Sorry, I have a lisp. Speech impediment. Anyway, people would use brewer's yeast to fight powder mildew, and I was like, kombucha has yeast in it. And then I posted a thing on the Probiotic Farmers Alliance a number of years ago, showing my before and after using kombucha, and it just like under a microscope, and it just like obliterated it. And then everyone was like, "This is why, and this is why. No, this is why." And you know, the enzymes, the acidity, the yeast, the lactobacillus, and you know, who really knows? But it does work.
no,
But
I mean, it has a lot of different benefits, not just changing pH, acidity, microorganisms. I mean, the yeast, all of those things can contribute and can do a great job of warding off. So I don't see why, like, bring the triple threat instead of just hitting it one way. That's IPM, baby.
hit it from all sides, all modes of action.
Do you have any booch going right now?
No, I haven't done that in forever. I haven't done it in a long time. I haven't gotten powder mildew in years. Can you get viable
Well,
seeds?
just to like drink, even.
No, it upsets my stomach now.
Oh man,
I used to drink it all the time, and now the acidity upsets my stomach. It makes me gassy. No, I don't drink kombucha anymore. I like kimchi though. I like kimchi.
Oh yeah,
For my
kimchi's good.
probiotics. Yeah.
So the Hermy seed question, I would say no.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of breeders will use seeds, like, not a lot of breeders, but people who are playing with breeding, I should say. You know what I mean? Like, I hear, oh, I got a seed. And I'm like, well, how did you get that seed? If you didn't have pollen, like, that's a hermaphroditic trait. And why would you want to bring that into your breeding project? Why would you want to pass on something that has a tendency to hermaphrodite? That's not something that you're looking for. You wouldn't want. I mean, some strains are super sensitive, like a little light leak, and then they're gonna seed out. Some strains can go through a lot and won't. You know, that's what you're looking for. So why would you want to pick a seed from a plant that's gonna have that?
Same thing with breeding with feminized genetics too, because you would be selecting for hermaphroditic traits.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes complete sense. So, I mean, so would feminized seeds, would it affect if the mother then was feminized? Or just you're saying a male seed from a feminized?
Like if you take a reg and cross it with a fem,
Yeah.
you're more likely to get hermaphroditic traits and hermaphroditic plants as the end result.
Same mother and father. Well, obviously, the father would probably be a greater, maybe. I don't know. I'm just.
The greater? What do you mean?
Like greater percentage of being hermaphroditic traits if it was a male that came from feminized, because it's like was feminized, and you know how like I think 2%, right, of feminized seeds can be male. Wouldn't that have a greater tendency because it was, you know, like it went through the process of being feminized and still turned out male?
I don't know. I have no idea. The experience that I have with it, oh, sorry.
That's my son. Sorry.
I have like surround sound, so I like hear things like from behind me. So my experience with it was I took a sorry, I'm so distracted. Children, I'm like, baby.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I took a feminized female and I pollinated it with a regular male. And then the seeds that I got from it, I grew them out and I culled all the males and I grew only the females, and all 4 females through pollen sacs.
Damn, crazy. Okay, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm. So be careful.
That's a great tip right there. You guys, knowledge drop. If you want to play around with breeding, that was a great tip, because most people are giving out feminized seeds nowadays. It seems like they don't. I had to ask seedsmen. I was like, can you send me regular seeds? Like, I don't want to keep getting feminized. I guess people are anxious that they don't just want to know that what they have. And I mean, a lot of people send their seedlings out for testing, like to see if it's a male or female, instead of waiting, 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not one of those people, but
I feel like, because I sell seeds, and the conversations that I've had with customers is that they don't want to throw away half their seeds. They don't want to cull their males.
yeah.
So they
Yeah.
feel like they're getting ripped off almost if they're not feminized seeds. Or they're
Okay.
have regs. It's because you're a smart man, Billy. You're a
Yeah, I
smart
would
man.
rather have rigs. I'm always asking for that, but cool, good, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime.
Oh, I have a kombucha mother in my cupboard, and I haven't done anything with it. I need to feed it. I was gifted it, and I just haven't done anything. I need to give it some tea and sugar and some flavors, and I don't know what. I kind of want to do
Just tea.
huckleberry.
Do it. Do tea and sugar. Have you ever made kombucha before?
No.
We can talk about making kombucha. Maybe we can talk about making kombucha specifically to fight powder mildew, because I've played with this a lot, actually.
Okay,
Um,
let's break it down.
So,
Mic drop.
you just use a cup of sugar per gallon of water, right?
Okay.
And heat the water, whatever. Don't get it too hot, but dissolve the sugar completely. Throw your SCOBY in there. Use black tea. Don't use green tea. Use black tea.
Okay.
And then you wait, and pretty much taste it. You want to taste it like periodically. You don't want to let it go to vinegar. So if it tastes like it's starting to like kind of go towards vinegar, it's done. You can get all fancy and use like a Brix meter and look at the exact numbers. I kind of forget what they are, but the important part here is once it gets going, you see your SCOBY kind of extend to cover the top of the ferment, the aerobic ferment, and kind of taste it. Wait until you get like a slight kind of vinegar or whatever. You don't want it to go too far. You then take your other plant matter, your whatever your flavor is, and you stuff it in a fermenting bottle that has a cap on it, and then you pour it's like the first stage of the kombucha. You pour your kombucha into a sealing bottle, like with a latch on it. So you put like your flowers or your fruit or whatever it is that you want to use as your flavor, stuff it in your bottle, put your kombucha in it, and then you seal it. And you let it sit there for like 4 days without opening it.
Is this like a special bottle or any bottle?
It's like I'm sure I have one around here somewhere. It's just like like those bottles with like the little metal latches and the plastic things and the grommet, and you snap it down.
Yeah. Just to seal it.
Yeah.
Like you want it sealed. Okay.
Yeah, you want it sealed, but you want to be able to open it because you burp it after like 4 or 5 days. It'll build up a bunch of pressure and you have to burp it. Yeah, those.
Okay.
Those bottles. And then you burp it every couple of days just so it doesn't turn into a big glass kombucha bomb in your pantry.
Has that happened to you?
No.
That's good. I was hoping you were saying that from experience. I mean, I feel like I could forget something like that. I've had them blow up in the freezer, not kombucha, but
No, I have had it happen. I have had it
oh.
happen. Yeah.
Oh, I bet that was a mess to clean up. Hopefully you didn't step on any glass.
So you keep it in the cupboard keep it in a place where it's not like don't leave it like in the center of your kitchen.
Where it can go everywhere. Was it in
You just have, like,
your cupboard or was it in the?
Yeah, it was in a cupboard. Yeah, I keep it
Okay.
in a cupboard out of the light
Okay.
and stuff.
All right, so you're saying I put the okay. So first of all, it's aerobic fermenting, so it's just the cheesecloth over the top of the whatever jug you're using, and then you're pouring the finished, tasting it, pouring that on top of the fruit or herbs or whatever in that sealed bottle. Burp it every 4 days.
Wait 4 days, burp it for the first time, and then burp it every couple days, every
Okay.
other day. Yeah.
For how long?
I don't know, like a week.
Okay, and that's the finished thing, or do you mix that back in with?
No, that's the finished thing.
Okay.
And then you drink that.
Okay.
And that's for like drinking. But I found for making kombucha to like spray for powder mildew, you let it go for a super long time before putting it in a bottle. You like want it to go to vinegar, but you want it to stay alive. And then you feed it and then you cap it and then you let it get like, you don't burp it as much and you let it get like as carbonated as possible without exploding. For some reason, the more carbonated it is, the better it works for fighting powder mildew. And when you spray it on the leaf, it'll actually like bubble with carbonation. And I feel like that little bubbling on the leaf surface maybe like agitates it or something, but
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
what
you
I've
can literally
experienced.
like spray off powdery mildew, like if you have squash or something. So just having that physical agitation probably it does. This is like more than the triple threat now. We're talking coming at it from every physical, mechanical, biological. Yeah, cool. Cool. I'm gonna tell my husband, and he's gonna think I'm crazy. I'm gonna say I need to make this kombucha to spray on my plant.
Do it, try it. It's cool. It's fun. It's fun to make stuff.
I have a little bit of powder mold on some beet leaves. I could just spray a beet leaf.
Do it. Yeah, go for it. You can always just like get some kombucha from the store or whatever too. And
Well, I really need to finish this kombucha that I have going. Like, figure it out. Let's see. I got to go back to work. Room filled up with plants. I'm bucked down. First harvest, 3 more to go. Nice to meet you, stoner scientists. Oh, yay. Nice to meet you too. Have fun harvesting. How far are you from harvesting?
I am. Oh, today's Thursday. Today is week 5. I am in week 5. So I got 3
How long
weeks.
do you think you're gonna go? 3 weeks? Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go like 8.5 weeks. I want to go. We'll see. We'll reevaluate it. But I'm pumping my plants right now.
Good.
I'm pumping them.
Yeah, they look good. They look
Thank
nice. You top dressed what today? What did you top dress with? That cow foss, rock foss?
That was part of it, but I didn't top dress with it.
Okay.
So I top dressed with fishbone meal, crab meal, no shrimp this time. So fishbone, crab, kelp. I had a little bit of bentonite clay. That was it for the top dress. So then I added that over my mulch, whatever. I went around and took my little high pressure nozzle thing and I watered it in. I kind of just like sprayed it in, tried to get it past the mulch layer. And then I went back over it and I threw earthworm castigs everywhere. Then I mixed up like a little potion of mine with full strength of fulvic acid, more kelp, like, soluble kelp, aloe vera, beet juice. Oh, and my fermented plant extract that I made with apples and peaches.
Okay. Yay. That sounds delicious. I mean, like, all of those things are tasty, you know?
Yeah. I got.
Besides the phosphate and the rock phosphate.
Oh, that's right. And I added rock phosphate. Yeah, I added micronized rock phosphate to the.
Oh, you found
water.
the micronized. So,
I did. I got the micronized.
Who did you get it from?
From Blue Gold.
Blue Gold. Okay.
Blue Gold.
All right. Yeah, because I've only found they didn't even have the powder, like, you know what I showed that will grow organics that's affordable. You look that up. They didn't have that at the worm farm a few weeks ago. And neither did they have it at the agriculture store up here. I just haven't been able to find it. And I don't feel like it's worth shipping because it's like that's not sustainable. You know what I mean?
So
So
the place that I ordered mine from,
Mhm.
it's called Apical Ag, and it's in Cambry, Oregon, which was like just a couple hours away from me. And the
That's
shipping was
amazing.
like nothing. And it's
That's great.
injectable micronized calcium phosphate.
Okay.
I'll send you the link, or I'll post
Yes,
it in
please.
the chat.
Yeah, post it in the chat. I ended up just going with a granular, not granular, it was like crushed granular. So a little powder, a little grain. I think it was Fertifos instead of Calfos. So, I top dressed with that. And then I've been trying to do a little bit of teas with the worm castings and trying to like pull some of that out because I'm really trying to avoid any guanos.
Guanos.
Dude, you didn't go to Burning Man this year. I thought you were gonna go. Speaking of guanos.
What does a guano have to do with Burning Man? What does that even mean? What are you talking about?
I guess my crazy mind went from guano to poop to the porta potties getting backed up. From all the rain and mud.
No, I didn't go to Burning Man this year, and I'm really glad that I didn't. It was the year to miss.
Yeah, it was, I think. I mean, some of my friends who were there absolutely had a ball in the mud and just like wore trash bags over their feet. But then I've heard, mostly it was just not firsthand experience, like anecdotal evidence or whatever of people who just said, "Oh, it sucked." But everyone that I talked to was just like, "Oh, it was fun. It's just mud."
Yeah, I went one year. I think it was 2014, maybe 13. I don't remember. But it rained for a couple of days, and they shut the gates down, and it didn't make fucking headline news or go all over TikTok, because that wasn't even a thing, and Burning Man still wasn't popular back then. But what button is this?
I know. My mom was like, "Oh my gosh, did you see Burning Man?" I'm like, "Oh my god!" When your mom's texting you about the mud at Burning Man,
Why won't it ever let me post links to the fucking chat? Ken, will you post this, please?
It's in the private chat. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I just put it in the private chat. Yeah. What were we talking about that took us to the
poop, the guano.
The guano. Trying to stay away from the guanos. But there was something we were talking about before that, though. Like took us to the guanos and then the Burning Man and then pooping in porta potties and
It was avoiding guanos for phosphorus sources and using rock phosphate, which we both use for our phosphorus source, which is great. I highly recommend using it, you guys. It's an awesome product, and she has given us a link for a micronized. So micronized is going to be a lot more readily accessible than any of the like crushed, granular, or fine powders. The micron size is, I don't know what it is, but it's really small. So it's just going to make it easier for it to be broken down and then used up by your plant.
Penetrates the cell walls. You can spray it directly on your plant and it'll penetrate the cells and be immediately available. And phosphate is an energy source. What is that word? Adenosine triphosphate. ATP. Is crucial to nutrient delivery and a whole bunch of different processes. It is the energy of the plant. And so phosphorus and phosphate are super crucial. And so in micronized form, it's almost like giving your plant energy, just throwing energy at your plant.
It really is. And that word, adenosine triphosphate, is so there's 3 molecules of phosphorus and I think a nitrogen and then some other things, but it's predominantly phosphorus. That's what makes it up. So it's super important for any physiological changes that are going on with your plant. And the fact that it's micronized is super great. I need to get me some of that.
It's the calcium in there too.
Somebody said that they find that it's strange people use dead decaying fruit instead of the sap that grows the fruit. I don't know what they mean by that, but
Used dead decaying fruit instead of the sap that grows the fruit. So
Super Nessa actually taps trees for the sap inside, and that's what he actually grows with.
I was just about to say that. So there's a couple people, actually I think it's just one person in my Discord server who has done that, and maybe it's you. They collect sap from trees and they water their plants with it. I think that's
amazing.
Fantastic. I was actually looking. I harvested my indoor a couple weeks ago, and I walked in my room the other day, and my stalks were still oozing fluid out of them, and I was like, I wonder if I can collect the ooze from my harvested plants and feed them back to my other plants, or foliar spray them onto my other plants, and what it would be like, you know.
Uh-huh.
Makes
So you're
sense
like you're kind of like a pirate at that point, because
Yeah.
you're like
Yeah.
you're stealing the energy currency of the other
Yeah.
plant.
I think it's a fantastic idea. And that's one of the reasons why I like to, blend and strain fresh fruits. Yeah,
Cool.
keep it fresh.
Keep it
Yeah.
fresh.
That's why I stay away from like jadam and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a jadam.
Not my jam. Jadam ain't my jam. But
No.
people like it, and it works. People like it. It's got its time and place. I'm not trying to shit on anyone's practice, but I just personally don't do it.
Oh yeah, I know. For sure. It's like there's so many ways to grow cannabis, and so many people grow amazing cannabis doing it so many different ways. So it's whatever is like your direction, your true north. What's easy for your life or your setup, your resources. Don't like get attached to someone else's growing style because you really like what it does for them. You need to work within your parameters. Like the gardener is the best tool in the garden. And if you're doing something that's not in your comfort zone, or maybe you just don't have the time or, space, like fit with that. Take that. That is like the most important part of planning your garden, is like knowing that background before you go in and like try to do whatever it is you want to try and do.
People want to jump to the fun stuff. And sometimes you got to get a foundation of understanding first before you can jump to the fun stuff. It's a good way to like get your hands dirty, but like playing with ferments and stuff like that. All these different kind of do-it-yourself stuff. But I think it's really important that people understand like the importance of balanced soil, balanced nutrient, balanced biological profiles and stuff before they're continuously pumping their plants with things full of biology, things full of bacteria. The bacteria plays a huge role. You don't want to constantly be interrupting it.
Yep. Let's see if there's any other comments, anything. What it do, ladies? What it up, Dark Wolf?
What it do? What it don't do? Meet me at the intersection. I'm gonna show you. No? Anyway.
Fastest way is to just remineralize the water. I don't know what that's in reference to. The fastest way is to just remineralize the water. Super Nessa. I'm not sure.
Fastest way to do what?
I don't know. Maybe they're gone. Wow, that was really loud. Sorry. Sounded like an echo in my headphones.
My ears are bleeding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't really see any questions. Didn't they use phosphate for old time sodas? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, they have phosphoric acid in soda. They put phosphoric acid in soda currently. Yeah, I don't really see any bunch of questions.
No. Does anyone have any questions? What do you guys want to talk about? What's
Yeah, sorry,
next?
we didn't have like a super solid lesson today. Kind of winged it. We had a guest lined up and they had to back out. So we were kind of left last minute picking up the pieces. And I had a super busy day, and so did Alex. So.
And I was grumpy because I didn't get to go mountain biking. Oh, I found 5 pawpaw trees yesterday to grow and heal. I don't even know what a pawpaw tree is. I was just, I have a lot of people on my Discord server that are from the East Coast, and the, like the ecosystems over there, the trees over there, everything is so diverse from the West Coast, and it's really interesting. I love learning about different tree species. So, they've been like, a lot of these folks are making their own inputs and collecting things from their environment. And a lot of the species I'm just not super familiar with, like gumball trees. I didn't know what a gumball tree was, the one with the spiky balls.
Oh,
You know what
okay.
I'm talking about?
The ones that
Yeah.
they like open up and then you shake them and you throw
I
seeds all
guess.
over your siblings.
Yeah, that's yeah, exactly.
Throw them at your friends during recess. Those we had them at my
Yes.
school. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Gumball.
somebody was talking about making some things out of that, like collecting those because they're all over and they have to move them out of the lawn anyway. I'm like, I don't know. Tell me how it goes. Let
Break
me
them up
know.
into pieces and use them as like mulch. Then you're gonna have a whole bunch of sprouts.
Yeah, and it might hurt if you're walking barefoot, but
Yeah. Yes. If you're not growing them in bed. Yeah. Yeah.
CD
Early-
Pool Girl asks what you're smoking. What are we smoking on tonight? What have you been smoking?
Oh, let me look at it.
I have been smoking. My freaking bowl piece isn't even in here right now. It's so annoying. My husband took the bowl out. But I've been smoking this purple ghost candy. It's really nice. I've been smoking it for the last week, and just it's like really happy and giggly, and I like that. I like being happy and giggly.
But I've been smoking this. Ooh. This is
Nice.
my moon diamond.
Oh hell yeah! Tell me about that?
She swells, she gets big, she grows big buds, she yields, and she gets really dark purple, nice and frosty. Like a berry and cheese, a little musky though, kind of earthy, super blue. Nice big.
Yes, that is so pretty.
My camera isn't really picking it up really well, but it's good stuff. Someone had asked us to talk about early stages of flower. You want to talk about early stages of flower?
Sure, yeah, let's talk about the early stages of flower. So during this time, I think it's like important to know that the number of flowering sites on a plant once it's set into flower is like that is it. That is all of the flowering sites that you're going to get once it's done that. And so this is a perfect opportunity like for you to direct the excess sugars produced during photosynthesis into those directed bud sites. And like I like to do a nice prune before flower, but then at this point, making sure that everything is going where I want it to go at that like early stage of flower, and even keeping a little bit of nitrogen. I'm cutting back a little bit, but I'm not like feeding my plant a ton anyway, like just in general, but I don't cut out nitrogen. Keep it there, keep it going in the beginning during the stretch where, like we said, the ATP is phosphate and nitrogen, and going through that excessive amount of growth is going to use a lot of energy. So just make sure that they have everything they need and that it's going, any excess sugars are going where you want it to.
Yep. Yeah, we still need nitrogen early in flower. But then towards the end, too much nitrogen left in your plant can leave it smoking kind of harsh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
pretty much cut it out. Don't be adding a ton of nitrogen or any really. Like I like to not add anything past week 3 and just rely on what's, you know, my soil should have enough at that point to just take it through the finish line.
that's
And
not what I
that's,
did.
you
I
know,
just added a whole bunch of stuff at week 5.
really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it depends on your soil. It depends on like I
You're
put a
growing
lot
in
of
ground?
neem. Yes. Well, not this year, but normally I grow in ground and I have a shitload of compost and I'm chop and drop, which adds nitrogen throughout. Like all the, if 15% of the nitrogen required for your lawn can be provided by just leaving your grass clippings to decay instead of bagging them up and throwing them away, like you can get a source of nitrogen. So I guess I am always adding a little bit because I'm constantly chopping and dropping. I always have shit growing underneath my plants.
Chop and drop, baby.
Yes, the buckwheat, that's my favorite chop and drop because it grows so fast. It's pretty, it's easy to manage, you know, it's just one stalk. Like you can grab a bunch, rip them, cut it, and it just keeps growing back. Like you can walk on it, you can beat the hell out of it, and I'll just like be right there. Come on back, baby.
So reliable. It's always there for you.
If you're not growing buckwheat, grow some buckwheat.
Yeah, buckwheat's great. I put buckwheat in my my big plant pots, and when it got too long, I just wrapped it like a wreath, you know, like around the
Yeah.
around the pot, whatever, because it like came up and then it just fell out, and then it was exposing the soil when it fell out, and I was like, no, you have to cover the soil. So I just like trained it in like this circle, and I had like this wreath of buckwheat, and then it just all kind of kept blooming. It was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. That's awesome. I love buckwheat. I've wanted to make like pancakes or something out of buckwheat, you know? Because you can make the flour.
Well, I just was wondering. I know that you had a rough day, Luna. Did you want to call it at an hour? How are you feeling?
I am pretty tired. We're just chilling. This is really mellow. This is not hard to do. If we were having like a really hard conversation or a really intense interview or something, I'd be like, okay, I'm done. I don't know. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm hungry as always. You guys, every time you ask me at the end of the show, that's my answer.
Cool.
And she's got her child downstairs that would like to see their mom too.
Yes, he's probably hungry too.
Okay, guys, then and you don't have anything, any last words, and we'll just call it a night.
All right. Peace out.
Okay, peace out, everybody.